Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome all the engineering students, especially the students of Khwaja Farid University of Engineering and Information Technology. Dear students, we discuss today, inshallah, the basic concepts of linear momentum and impulse or impulsor momentum. In the next, inshallah, we will discuss the angular momentum and the torque. So, we discuss today the impulse and momentum. So, this is the chapter 3, impulse and momentum. As you know that the measure of the movement of a body is being done with the help of momentum, and mathematically it is a product of mass times velocity. As mass is a scalar quantity and velocity is a vector quantity, so therefore the momentum, linear momentum, is also a vector quantity, and its direction is same as the direction of the velocity. If you see, this is the velocity direction, and of course the momentum direction is same as the direction of the velocity. Linear momentum means the momentum is a vector quantity. The linear momentum means the body moves in a straight line. And if I talk of the momentum in x, y and z in the three-dimensional, and of course px is equal to mvx, py is equal to mpy, and pz is equal to mvz. If you need to find the units, it's kilogram, and this is meter per second. So it's kilogram meter per second. Or if I convert kilogram meter per second square, multiply with second and second, we get Newton second. Both the units are being used for the linear momentum. It's kilogram meter per second or Newton second. Okay, next we move. It means the momentum depends upon the mass and velocity. Larger the mass, larger will be the momentum. Smaller the mass, smaller will be the momentum. And similarly, the velocity is higher for, if velocity is higher, we have a more momentum, and for less velocity, we have a less momentum. We need to take the relationship between Newton's second law of motion and momentum. We know that the force F is equal to ma. This is according to Newton's second law of motion. So A is equal to A is equal to dV by dt. And if I say, so if mass is also changing, so I can say is dmv by dt. dmv is basically the linear momentum, which is dp by dt. So it means the rate of change of momentum, or rate of change of linear momentum, is basically the force. The time rate of linear momentum is called force. Okay, impulse and a constant force. When a single constant force acts on an object, there is impulse drive to the object. This is we defined as J when a force applied for a very small period of time. So the force times the delta t for t2 minus t1, summation of all the product of force times delta t will give you the impulse. And the direction of the impulse is same as the direction of the force. Impulse and momentum theorem. The theorem states that the impulse acting on a system is equal to the change in linear momentum. So it is J is equal to delta P, which is mvf minus mvi. And the net work done is equal to the change in kinetic energy. So if I say in the change in linear momentum in x direction, so it is a linear momentum in the final linear momentum in x direction and initial momentum in the x direction. Similarly for y. So the change in linear momentum is called impulse, and impulse is for a change for a very small period of time. So if you see, this is the system, and hence this change in momentum of this system will give you the impulse in this direction, right? So let's see the calculating the change of momentum is very simple. Change of momentum is basically is P2 minus P1. This P is momentum, final momentum minus initial momentum, or mv2 minus mv1, or mv2 m times v2 minus v1. So what is the initial velocity of this object here? What is the final velocity? And just find the result. Let's see for teddy bear. Of course, its initial velocity is 0 and the final velocity is v. Why I am saying minus v? Because if taking y in the upward direction minus v, the change in momentum is mv, right? And if you see for the bouncing ball, the strike and go back, of course this is p if I have a velocity v, and strike with the velocity which final velocity is v, initial velocity is minus v, so its change in momentum is 2mv. So it is just the mass, most mass is constant, is the change in velocity will give you the change in momentum. Impulse momentum theorem in general we write momentum theorem like J is equal to integral T1 to T2 summation f dt, or in other words, J is a change in momentum P2 minus P1. If you see, this is the curve. If of course the force is changing, so the area under this curve will give you the impulse. And if the force is constant, and of course this green rectangle will give you the impulse. So it means the change in momentum of particle during a time interval will give you the impulse, or area under the force time graph will give you the impulse. If force is larger for a short period of time, the graph should like this. And if the force is smaller for a longer period of time, like this, if you need to find the area of this hump or this hump, we get the impulse for this. So the change in momentum is called impulse, or the area under the force time graph is called impulse. If you integrate over this, and you will get the area, you get the impulse. So force time graph, area under this will give you the impulse. This is called impulse momentum theorem. Impulse, momentum and average force. Impulse and momentum is just the change in momentum. Impulse and average force is force average time, just a change in time. F average multiply by T2 minus T1. Just see this green graph. Average force and change of momentum is simple. The F average P2 change in momentum divided by T2 minus T1, you will get the force. We have already discussed the rate of change of linear momentum is called force. Total momentum of a colliding body. Dear student, if for example there are two masses, the blue one and this one is the brown one. This is m1 and this had a mass of m2. This is moving with initial velocity v1i, this is v2i. This is their initial momentum. So when they strike, the change in the initial, they strike, collide with each other, and after collisions, the velocities to be changed v2f and v1f. So f21, the change into delta t, the change in momentum, of body, of course, 1, that is m1 v1 minus m1 v1, m1 v1 f minus m1 v1 I. Similarly for 2, m2 v2 vf f minus m2 v2 I. This change in momentum will give you the impulse on body 2, on body 1 because of 2. This is on body 2, body 2 because of 1. Since, and you see in these two cases, F21 delta t and F12 delta t, mean force applied by 1 on 2 and 2 on 1, they are same, but only in opposite direction. Therefore, I can write m1 v1 f minus m1 v1 I is equal to minus m2 v2 f minus m2 v2 I. Just rearrange, we get m1 v1 I plus m2 v2 I is equal to m1 v1 f plus m2 v2 f. So the change in momentum m1 v1 I plus m2 v2 I, the initial momentum of a system, is equal to the final momentum. This is also called the law of conservation of momentum. So we have discussed already, say for an isolated systems, and if the collision is elastic, and then the momentum before collision, is equal to momentum after collision. m1 v1 I is the initial momentum of body 1, m2 v2 I is the initial momentum of body 2. This sum becomes the momentum of the system. Similarly, m1 v1 f is the final momentum of the body 1, and m2 v2 f is the final momentum of body 2, and this whole term on the right side sum give you the momentum of the system after collision. So momentum before collision is momentum after collision, or you can say the change in momentum is 0. So therefore this is called law of conservation of momentum for an isolated systems. Then the change in momentum is 0, or initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So we say in an isolated system or closed system, the total momentum of the system remains constant. So this is the system before. There is no other force are acting on this. These two systems before collision, they collide each other when they are apart, and that we say the momentum this before collision is equal to momentum after collision. That's because. Remember that momentum is a vector quantity. And students, as I have already told you that if we have momentum is mv, and whatever the direction of v, the same direction is of momentum. So you cannot add momentum just like, okay, for example, this is PA, this is PB, for example. So just you cannot add 18 plus 24. No, these are the vector quantities. Again, they had been added by head to tail rules. PA, then PB, this become right angle triangle, and you can find the similarly 18 square plus 24 square under root, you can find the momentum, right? So therefore, and then find the angle with the x-axis. So by taking the tan inverse, of course this is y PA over PB, you can find the angle. This is the right way. You cannot add just like the scalar quantity, because momentum is a vector quantity. So types of collision, there are two types mostly we talk of. Is inelastic collision, like meatballs into spaghetti. Meatballs are basically anything, they strike the spaghetti. Kinetic energy is not conserved. It's a completely inelastic collision occur when the objects stick together. Whenever the objects stick together, of course, kinetic energy does not conserve. So those collision in which kinetic energy before and after collision remain same, they are called elastic collisions. But those collisions in which the kinetic energy before and after collision does not remain same, these are called inelastic collisions. For example, mostly, with some exceptions, when we do billiard ball strike, during this strike, they transfer the momentum or kinetic energy, and in this case, both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. Therefore, it is the elastic collision. For example, if I strike the ball with the wall and come back to the same distance by ignoring a small change during the impact, then this collision is also elastic. But when the two things are collected together, that momentum is called inelastic collision. In this case, kinetic energy does not remain same. Completely inelastic collision, when two objects stick together after the collision, they are undergo a completely inelastic. For example, this is mass m1, this is mass m2 moving with velocity v1i, v2i, and this strikes with this. When they strike, they stick together, and then m1 plus m2 is moving with this velocity. So the initial momentum is equal to final momentum m1 plus m2 vf, and new velocity will be this one. And in this case, kinetic energy is not conserved. Elastic collision is a collision in which momentum before collision and the kinetic energy momentum before and after collision remain same, and kinetic energy of the system before and after collision remains same. Then I say it is elastic collision, like the collision between the two billiard balls, collision between the ball and the wall, we can be considered as a elastic collision. A simple equation can be placed of a kinetic energy, is half m1 v1 square, half m2 v2 square, kinetic energy of the system, right, initially, and kinetic energy after collision. I just bring this term m1 v1 square f on the left side and bring this one to the right side, taking half and half cancel out, and taking m1 is common because these two have m1 common and these two have m2 common. So the first body terms are coming on the left side, the second body comes on the right side. This can be, of course, factorized, a plus b and a minus b is v1i minus v1f, and similarly for the here. So this becomes your one of the equation. So m1 v1 I plus m2 v2 I is equal to m1 v1 f plus m2 v2 f. That is the initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So from this relationship, so we can take m1 common, m2 common. So I can plug these values, I get this simple relation. From here you can find we are interested to find v2f and of course v1f. What is the final velocity after collision? What is the final velocity of the first collision? Just simplify and you can find out. That we have already discussed and studied in your first year classes. A special case, I am discussing one of the case where v2i is equal to 0, the second body is at rest. Of course, in this case, if you go this case, so this second body is at rest, so v2i is equal to 0. So we have v1i plus v1f is equal to v2f. Remember that we know the v1i, we need to have v1f. Here also v2i is cancel out, so that's all. This is all cancel out. Now, if m2 is very much greater than m1, so we can ignore m1. So v1f is equal to minus v1i. Means the first body is lighter, it strikes and come back with the same velocity. If m2 is very much less than m1, for that case v2f is equal to 2vi. the lighter body will move with the 2 times of the initial 2 times the velocity of the heavier body, and the heavier body have a v1f and v1i are almost equal. The heavier body will move with the same velocity. Similarly, if m1 and f2 are equal, you will see the v2f is equal to v1i and v1f is equal to 0 if the first body is at rest of v2. So, in other words, the velocity will be interchanged in case of when masses are equal, and these things you have discussed in your first year classes. So, let's go to the summary of the types of collisions. When it is elastic collision, of course, the v1i plus v1f plus equal to v2f plus v2i, or initial momentum is equal to final momentum. And inelastic momentum is conserved, but kinetic energy is not conserved. And in a completely inelastic collision, the momentum is conserved, kinetic energy is not, and the two objects stick together. Okay, let's move to two-dimensional collision. For if the movement is in 2 dimension, so just break in the equations, the terms in x and y, and then take the momentum in the x direction before collision is equal to momentum after after collision in the x direction. Similarly for y. So if this body, this strike, and then one move in this direction, other move in this direction, making an angle of beta and phi respectively with the x-axis. So I make the v1f cos of theta and vf2 sine of theta, and similarly for this. So I take the momentum of the system before collision in the x direction is equal to momentum after collision in the x direction. Similarly, momentum before collision in the y direction and momentum after collision in the y direction. And this is the way how you can deal with the two-dimensional motion. So dear students, let's talk of the sample problems. 3-19 of your book. A tennis player strikes the tennis ball with her racket when the ball is at the uppermost point of its trajectory as shown. It comes here and she strikes and is moved in this velocity v1. It coming with the velocity v1, right? The horizontal velocity of the ball just before impact with the racket is v1 is 50 feet per second, and just after impact its velocity is 70 feet per second, directed at an angle of 50 degrees with the x-axis. If the 2 ounce ball is in contact with the racket for 0.02 seconds, determine the magnitude of the average force R exerted by the racket on the ball. Also determine the angle beta. Angle beta made by R, angle beta made by R with the horizontal direction. Let's make the free body diagram. Of course, this is the momentum plus impulse is equal to final momentum. So the change in momentum is called impulse. So let's make the free body diagram. This weight in the downward direction, of course, the reaction force in the upward direction, right? So reaction force had 2 components, one the x component and the r component. So rx dt and ry dt, this is the impulse in the x direction, in the impulse x direction, impulse in the y direction, and this impulse in the downward direction because of weight, and that going into this direction mv2. It will have 2 momentums, and one is x, other one is y. So after collision it has some x component and y component of the momentum. So this is the initial momentum plus impulse is equal to final momentum, or the change in momentum is called impulse. So we have a reaction force at some angle. So this will have 2 components, rx dt and ry dt, and the weight also the impulse is the downward direction, and then there is a final momentum mv2. It has 2 components x and y. So we break our problem in x and y, and then we can easily solve it. So mvx1 plus summation of 1 to 2, summation of all the force in x direction dt is mvx2. So mass is 2 ounces, so 2 divided by 16, because 1 pound is 16 ounces divided by 32.2, initial velocity is 50. Y right is minus because it's in the left direction, I'm taking right one positive. Right, similarly the plus rx 0.02, that is rx 0.02, I just told you here, this is the reaction force, and this for how much time? It is 0.02 seconds. We don't know what is rx and ry. So rx 0.02 is equal to, again, mass multiplied by this velocity is 70 cos of 15. This first equation, similarly v by 1 plus integral 1 to 2 summation of by dt is equal to mv by 2. Again 2 by 60, 32.2. The vy is 0, so this term goes to 0, ry 0.02, right? Minus this is the weight, which is downward direction, 2 by 16, 0.02 is equal to 2 by 60, 32.2, 70 sine of 50. Now dear students, here the Rx is unknown. You can find out directly Rx from 1. We get 22.82 pound. Similarly, solving 2, you will get the Ry, which is 3.525 pound. Note, the force by Ry is 3.525 pound is very much larger as compared to weight, which is only 0.125 pound. So the total reaction is Rx square plus Ry square, and you can find out by just taking the 3.525 square and 2.8 square. We get reaction force is 23.1 pound. Now the angle theta from the x-axis is a y over x, Ry over Rx. We get 8.8 degree with the x-axis. Sample problem 3-2. A 2 pound particle moves in the vertical YZ direction. This is Z, this is Y. Z up and Y horizontal, of course, under the action of the weight and the force F, which varies with time. This force F is varying with time. The linear momentum of the particle in pound second is given by the expression G is equal to 3 by 2 T square plus 3 J minus 2 by 3 T cube minus 4K, where T is the time in seconds. Determine the F and its magnitude for the instant when T is equal to 2 seconds. We have given the linear momentum. So the rate of change of momentum is called force. We need to find the force, what force is being applied, and it is being applied for a very small period of time for 2 seconds. So if you see here, the weight in the downward direction is minus 2K, right? And summation of F is equal to G dot, rate of change of momentum. Net force is F applied force minus the 2K, that is the negative, that is weight force. I take the derivative d by dt of the linear momentum. When I take the derivative 3 by 2 is 2t, that's J, then minus 2 by 3, 3t square is K. And we just arrange the terms, we get the force 3tj plus K, 2 minus 2t square. So just put the value of T here and you get the value of 6J minus 6K is the force. 6 mean X and Y, the 6 pound force in the horizontal direction and the 6 pound force in the downward direction of Z, and then net force is of course 6 square plus 6 square into square 6 under 2 pound is the net force acting, which is varying over the period of time. Sample problem 3-21. A particle with a mass of 0.5 kilogram has a velocity of 10 meter per second in the x direction, right? At time t is equal to 0, forces F1 and F2 act on the particle, and their magnitude changes with time according to the graphical schedule shown. This is the way how the forces are changing. F2 force is constant up to 2 seconds, and then from 2 to 3 seconds it is constantly increasing. If you see the force F1 is 4 Newton for first second, then it suddenly decreases from 1 at 1 second up to 3 seconds it remains same as 2, which is 2 Newton. So F2 acts on the particle, and they according to the graphical determine the velocity v2 of the particle at the end of the 3 second interval. The motion occur in the horizontal xy direction. After 3 seconds I need to find the velocity. Initial force F1 is velocity is 10 meter per second. F1 and F2 are varying like this, given the graph, right? So F1 is 4 Newton for first second, and then reduced from 1 to 3 seconds it is 2 Newtons, and F2 is 1 Newton for first 2 seconds, and then it reaches from 2 to 3 Newtons for in 1 second. It is increasing constantly with the constant slope. So of course this is the initial momentum, right? Initial momentum mvx, mvy plus the impulse. Impulse is because of this F1 force, which is in this direction, and F2 is in this direction. Weight is being ignored, is equal to net momentum, momentum, that is mv2, mv2x and mv2y. Again, initial momentum plus impulse is equal to final momentum, or change in momentum is called impulse. So there are two forces, one impulse because of this, one impulse because of this. So summation of F1 dt and F2 dt, and these are the momentums. mv1x because mv1x, this is the x, this is moving in this direction. Sorry, velocity is in this direction. This is a green gun. Therefore, it is in the right direction. So impulse momentum equations: mv1x plus t1 is summation of fx dx from t1 to t2 is mv2x. Factor taking x direction. So mass is 0.5 kilogram. I think so. It is given to you. Yes, 0.5 kilogram. Or then the mass is 0.5 kilogram. Then velocity is 10 minus all the forces which are acting in the x direction. That is 4. Initial the force is 4 Newton for 1 second, and then it becomes 2 for 3 minus 1 is 2 seconds, and we have this 3 minus 1, that is the for 2 seconds 2 Newton is equal to 0.5 V2x. So V2x is equal to minus 6 meter per second. Similarly for y, mv1y plus change in the impulse, that is equal to mv2y. So it's 0.5, initially y is 0, it's 1 into 2 again, 2 into 3 minus 2, because these are the forces which are going to be changed. It is initially 2 for 2 seconds, and then it moved from 2 to 3 for how many times? For that is basically we have for 1 second. So it's 0.5 v2y. So v2y is equal to 8 meter per second. So velocity at the final stage is minus 6i plus 8j. Just taking the square of x square plus y square, we get 10 meter per second. The angle is I take 8 by minus 6. First I take the principal angle, which is 53.5. So y is positive and x is negative second quadrant. The angle is 180 minus 53.1, 126.9 degree. Sample problem 3-22. The loaded 150 kilogram ship is rolling down the incline at 4 meter per second when a force P is applied to the cable as shown at time t is equal to 0. The force P is increased uniformly with the time until it reaches 600 Newton at t is equal to 4 seconds, after which time it remains constant at this value. Calculate the time t dash at which the skip reverses the direction. Skip reverses, mean moving in the backward direction. The velocity v of the skip at t is equal to 8 seconds. Treat the skip as a particle. This is as a complete particle, and that is the force changing. First the force 0 to 600 Newton in 4 seconds, and then the force remain constant. So we need to find here the time t dash for which skip, after which time it reverses the direction, and also find the time for skip after 8 seconds. So we have a free body again. This is the initial momentum plus the impulses is equal to final momentum. Please, this is the weight, right? These are the two reaction forces, is N1 dt and N2 dt, and then the force we be applying is P, because there are two, so it's 2P dt is equal to final momentum, which is moving with a velocity of 150 meters per second, which is given to us, I think so. Yes, it is 150. It's already 150 mass is M150 V2. So we have our initial velocity is 4 meter per second, mass is 150 kilogram per second. So the skip reverses direction when its velocity becomes 0. Assume at t is equal to 4 plus delta t second. 4 plus delta t second. Why I take 4? Because after 4 seconds, the force becomes constant, and then it might become reverse the direction plus delta t. How many? Because in the first 4 seconds, force is increasing from 0 to 600, and after this, it becomes constant. So it's 4 plus delta t second, it might reverses. So the impulse momentum equation applied consistently. So mv1x plus summation of f of x dt, there's impulse, is mv2x. So it is 150, and the velocity, if I say it is in a positive direction, is minus 4 plus half, right? This is half, 4, 2 into 600, right? These are the, of course, the forces, and then 2 into 600 is delta t. I just give you the these values. Please, this is the 4 into 2. I'm saying that is 4 into 2, right? And that take the average, and then 600 is the 600 is the force. So that is the this one 2p dt. So if for how many time that is for 4 seconds. So this I have written half 4 2, because area under this, that is impulse, half base into altitude, right, because of the force. This one is from 200 to 600 is the force, which is basically after this, right? That is delta t. I don't know for how much period of time. Minus 159.81 sine of a 30, that is because of weight, which is 4 plus delta t is equal to 150 is equal to 0, because acceleration is 0. From here, I find the value of delta t, which is 2.46 second. So I just add into this t dash 4 plus 2.46 second. So it takes 6.46 second to reverse the direction. Now, part B, applying the momentum equation to entire 8 seconds interval, complete interval. This we applied where it becomes the acceleration becomes 0, it becomes stop. then it might reverse the direction. So that we find out 6.46 seconds. So initial momentum in x direction, then the impulse and this. So this is the momentum. This is the impulse half, that is the from this triangle, and then the total we have find out that is 4 into 2 into 100, right? 4 into 2 into 100. That is I tell you that is 4 seconds, right? 4 seconds or 2p. So that is 2p into 600 force minus 159.81 is the weight, and then 150 v2x. So we find v2x is 4.76 meter per second. So we get the same result is obtained by analyzing the interval from t dash to 8 seconds. Here we also find almost the same thing. So we get the same result almost. So velocity v2 is 4.76 meter per second up to t dash to 8 seconds. Sample problem t dash 23. A 50 kilogram bullet traveling at a 600 meter per second strike the 4 kilogram block, right? Block centrally, and it embedded within it. Right? It embedded within it. If the block slides on a smooth horizontal plane with a velocity of 12 meter per second in the direction, this direction it slides. So it has two components of velocities, x and y, in the direction shown prior to the impact. Determine the velocity v2 of the block and embedded bullet immediately after impact. The bullet has a moving with 600 meter per second. Mass is 0.05 kilogram, and the block is 4 kilogram, and velocity is after impact is 12 meter per second. So this is the block in which this red bullet is being embedded in this, right? And now we need to find what is the velocity after this. So the initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So let's we have initial momentum. Of course, it is 0.05 into 600 j, right? Plus this momentum has a two components, 12 cos of 30, 12 into cos of 30 times 4, and 12 into sine of 30 times 4, right? Sorry. So this is the momentum in the I and j. Collecting the terms for the v2 is equal to the velocity, the momentum after collision. This momentum before collision, momentum of the bullet momentum of the block, and total when they embed 4 plus 0.050 v2. So v2 is equal to 10.26 plus 13.33 j meter per second. So just take the I square plus j square under root, you get 16.83. This is, and the angle is, of course, it is 13.33 divided by 10.6, 52.4 degree angle. So after collision, the block moved with a velocity of 6.83 meter per second at an angle of 52.4 degree with the x-axis. Dear students, we have discussed the impulse and momentum and linear impulse momentum law. Inshallah, in next lecture will be unsolved problems regarding the linear impulse and momentum law, and after this we'll go for the angular momentum. Thank you very much for this, and be ready for the next lecture, which is 24.